The knife hovered inches from my throat, its cold edge catching the dim flicker of a single bare bulb swinging overhead like a pendulum counting down my final seconds. Sweat beaded on my forehead, mixing with the metallic tang of fear that choked the air in this godforsaken Brooklyn warehouse. But it wasn't my fear. It was Jamie's, the body I'd woken up in just 3 heart-pounding hours ago. I was Alex Chun, a broke graphic designer from Queens who'd binged one too many tragic BL web novels last night. And now, staring into the stormy gray eyes of Ethan Blackwood, the story's unhinged villain, I realized this wasn't a dream. This was my plot twist, and it ended with me bleeding out on cracked concrete unless I rewrote the script right here, right now. Ethan's grip tightened on my collar, his breath ragged against my cheek, close enough that I could smell the faint cedar of his cologne cutting through the rot of forgotten crates stacked like tombstones around us. In the novel, this was Chapter 1. The disposable side character, Jamie Reyes, a wide-eyed college dropout scraping by as a barista in a hipster Williamsburg cafe, crosses paths with the brooding heir to Blackwood Enterprises, a cutthroat real estate mogul whose closet-deep secrets fuel his rage. Jamie's crime: overhearing a hushed phone call about Ethan's underground dealings, laundering money for anti-LGBTQ lobbyists to keep his family's empire spotless, and naively confronting him. Cue the dramatic abduction, the threats, and the slash that silences loose ends forever. But I wasn't Jamie, not really. I devoured Shadows of Desire, the viral BL hit that romanticized villainy until it broke readers' hearts. And I'd always rooted for Ethan, the damaged anti-hero whose queerness was weaponized against him by a father who preached family values from boardrooms while funding conversion camps in the Bible Belt. If I died here, the story marched on. Ethan spirals, frames the protagonist, a bland golden boy named Lucas, for my murder and self-destructs in a blaze of scandal, leaving Lucas to pine eternally over what-ifs. Not on my watch. You think you can just waltz into my life and spill my secrets like they're yesterday's gossip? Ethan's voice was a low growl, laced with that posh Manhattan accent that had Brooklyn roots scrubbed clean for Ivy League polish. His free hand pinned my wrist to the rusted metal beam behind me, fingers like iron vices forged from years of suppressing who he was. I could see the flicker in his eyes, the same one from the book, a war between the monster the world demanded and the man screaming to break free. Prejudices had carved him hollow, outed at 16 by a jealous ex, disowned whispers from high society that painted him as the family stain, endless hookups and shadowed clubs to drown the loneliness. And me? Jamie's memories flooded in fragments. Growing up in a cramped Jackson Heights apartment with immigrant parents who adored their straight, a son until he came out at 19, only to face the slow poison of disappointed silences and "it's just a phase" lectures. No wonder the original Jamie cracked under pressure. He'd chased validation in all the wrong bars, landing here as collateral in Ethan's storm. I swallowed hard, forcing my voice steady despite the pulse hammering in my ears. Ethan, listen, I'm not here to ruin you. That call, I get it. The deals, the cover-ups. It's survival in this city, isn't it? But killing me won't bury it. It'll just chain you deeper. His eyes narrowed, suspicion etching deeper lines around them. But I pressed on, channeling every fanfic rewrite I'd ever daydreamed. I've seen what they do to people like us. The headlines, the donors pulling strings. But you're better than their puppet. Let me help. Off the record, no strings. Or at least, don't make me the ghost haunting your conscience. He laughed, a bitter bark that echoed off the walls, but his grip loosened a fraction, the knife dipping like a flag of uncertain truce. Help? You? Some barista punk who reeks of cheap espresso and false hope? Spare me the savior complex. Yet he didn't strike. In the novel, this was where pride won. Ethan's blade found its mark, and Jamie's last gasp fueled the villain's descent. But something shifted. Maybe it was the way I held his gaze, unflinching, mirroring the pain I'd glimpsed in forum threads from real queer kids crushed by similar shadows. Or maybe transmigration came with perks, like intuition screaming that Ethan wasn't irredeemable. He was just waiting for someone to see past the facade. By dawn, as the first gray light seeped through boarded windows, Ethan shoved me toward the exit, the knife vanishing into his coat like a retracted claw. Get out, Reyes. And if you breathe a word. The threat hung, but his eyes, those storm-gray depths, betrayed a crack, a silent plea buried under layers of armor. I stumbled into the chilly December streets, heart racing not from terror but exhilaration. I dodged the death flag. Step 1, survive. Step 2, unravel why I'd landed here, in a world where love was scripted to shatter. Little did I know, the real plot twist was Ethan shadowing me home, his sleek black Audi idling 2 blocks away, watching like a guardian demon unwilling to let his almost victim slip the noose. Days blurred into a tense limbo as I settled into Jamie's life, or faked it, anyway. The apartment was a shoebox in Bushwick, walls papered with faded band posters, and a fridge humming with takeout remnants, a far cry from my old Queen's walk-up, but close enough to navigate. Mornings meant slinging lattes at Brew Haven, the cafe where Jamie's arc began, charming regulars with easy smiles while dodging the leers from suited finance bros who tipped extra for the cute gay waiter vibe. I kept my head down, replaying novel beats. Lucas was due to wander in next week, all golden curls and earnest journalism major charm, sparking the central romance that'd eclipse everything. But Ethan? He loomed like a glitch in the Matrix, his presence a ripple I couldn't ignore. It started small, a black coffee left unpaid on the counter, tabs scribbled EB in sharp ink. Then, a delivery of fresh pastries from a high-end patisserie, anonymous, but wrapped in paper stamped with Blackwood's crest. Whispers among the staff. Hadn't that hotshot developer been in last month? Eyes lingering on Jamie like he was appraising property. I confronted the mirror one night, Jamie's reflection staring back. Lean build from sporadic gym visits, freckles dusting a nose I'd always envied in selfies, green eyes that now held my guarded calculation. Play it cool, Alex, I muttered. Don't derail the main couple. Just steer clear of the villain's bad end. Fate, or the author's cruel pen, had other plans. On a snow-dusted Thursday, as I locked up Brew Haven, a shadow detached from the alley. Ethan, collar turned up against the wind, breath clouding in the street lamp glow. We need to talk, he said, voice stripped of warehouse menace, replaced by something rawer, like gravel under tires. I tensed, keys biting into my palm, but nodded toward the diner across the street, its neon sign buzzing, open 24/7, like a beacon for insomniacs. Inside, over greasy eggs and coffee that tasted like regret, he laid it bare. Not the full confession, but fragments. His father's empire wasn't just real estate. It bankrolled politicians who railed against family erosion, while Ethan funneled cash to keep skeletons buried. I'm the hypocrite they need, he admitted, stirring sugar into black sludge without drinking. Out in shadows, in public, the perfect son. But you saw through it. Why didn't you run to the press? Or your friends? Friends? Jamie's circle flickered in my mind. Mia, the fierce lesbian bar owner who'd patched him up after bar fights. Tyler, the trans activist crashing on his couch, dreaming of a world without borders. They'd grill me if I slipped, so I wove truth with caution. Because I've been there. Hiding pieces of yourself to keep the peace. It's exhausting, Ethan. But it's not forever, if you fight it. His gaze sharpened, probing like he sensed the off note in my cadence, the way I referenced plot points too precisely. You talk like you've read my biography. What's your angle, Reyes? I deflected with a half-smile, heart twisting at the vulnerability cracking his armor, the boy who'd lost his mother to cancer, only to have his grief twisted into man-up sermons that locked his heart away. In the novel, this depth came later, revealed in therapy sessions post-breakdown. Here, it spilled early, a butterfly effect from my interference. As we parted, his hand brushed mine under the table, accidental, electric, sending a jolt that wasn't scripted. Was this attraction, or just the thrill of shared secrets in a city that devoured the unguarded? Weeks turned the corner into January's bite, New York wrapping itself in a crystalline chill that mirrored the frost between us. I threw myself into Jamie's routine, volunteering at the local LGBTQ center in Bed-Stuy to ground myself, sorting donations while Mia cornered me with knowing smirks. Spill, Jay, you've got that glow, like you finally told off your folks. Her tattooed arms crossed over a band tee, eyes sharp as her wit, missing nothing. Mia was Jamie's rock, a butch Latina powerhouse who'd fled Texas after her own coming out imploded in fire and brimstone sermons. I hedged, blaming the holidays, but inside, turmoil brewed. Ethan's visits escalated. Texts from burner numbers, cryptic, "Watch your back. Father's men are circling," followed by drives by in that Audi, a black specter ensuring I wasn't a loose thread. One evening, as flurries danced outside the center's window, Tyler dragged me to a poetry slam at a queer bookstore in Park Slope. He adjusted his binder with a grin, voice modulator app pinging notifications from his podcast on trans joy in a binary world. Come on, it's cathartic. Plus, free wine. The crowd pulsed with energy, drag kings spitting fire, non-binary poets weaving spells of defiance. And for a moment, I forgot the meta-nightmare, lost in verses that echoed my displacement. I am the ghost in my own skin, rewriting verses fate forgot. Applause thundered, but midway, my phone buzzed. Ethan. Outside. Now. He leaned against the bookstore wall, snow dusting his wool coat like unwanted confetti, expression thunderous. What the hell are you doing here? This place is a minefield, reporters, activists, my father's spies everywhere. Paranoia laced his words, but beneath it, concern flickered, unbidden. I bristled, Jamie's pride surging with my own frustration at being babysat. Living my life, Ethan. Not cowering. You can't control everything. The argument ignited fast, voices low but edged, snow muffling our barbs until he grabbed my arm, pulling me into the shadowed stoop. I'm trying to protect you, idiot. After what you heard. They're ruthless. Conversion camps aren't just rhetoric. They're black sites for people like us who step out of line. His touch lingered, heat seeping through gloves, and in that charged silence, the air thickened with unspoken gravity. The novel's Ethan never lingered on side characters like this. His obsessions were possessive, destructive. But here, vulnerability seeped. A confession whispered about his first love, a boy from boarding school beaten out of him by hired therapists, leaving scars that therapy bills couldn't erase. I shared fragments, Jamie's version, anyway, of immigrant parents' quiet rejection, the ache of holidays spent alone. Laughter bubbled, tentative, as we traded stories of botched dates and midnight drives to Coney Island for cotton candy solace. When he drove me home, the radio hummed soft indie tracks, and his hand rested on the gear shift, inches from mine. No kiss, no declaration, just a bridge forming over chasms of doubt. But bridges burn easy. The next morning, Lucas Hale breezed into Brew Haven, script on legs, tousled blonde waves, dimpled smile that lit the room like summer erupting winter. Large Americano, black, keep the change, he said, eyes lingering on my name tag with that protagonist charm. In the book, Jamie crushes first, a one-sided pining that propels Lucas into Ethan's orbit via investigative journalism sniffing Blackwood corruption. I played it cool, handing over the cup with a nod, but guilt gnawed. Was I dooming the canon OTP by existing? Lucas chatted effortlessly, mentioning his zine on queer rights in academia, and invited me to a rally against the latest traditional values, bill snaking through Albany. We need voices like yours, he insisted, oblivious to the storm I'd stirred. That night, Ethan cornered me post-shift, jealousy sharpening his features like a blade honed overnight. Saw you with the pretty boy, planning your escape route. Accusation dripped, but hurt underlay it, raw as an open wound. I snapped back, jealous? Of a coffee chat? Grow up. This isn't your empire to conquer. He recoiled, then advanced, backing me against the cafe's alley wall, breath mingling in the frosted air. Maybe I am. Because for once, someone sees me. Not the villain, not the heir. And now you're slipping away. The admission hung, electric, his lips brushing my ear in a whisper that wasn't threat, but plea. Heart slamming, I pushed him back gently, boundaries fraying. Ethan, this. Us. It's complicated. The world's not kind to stories like ours. He nodded, retreating into shadows, but the seed was planted, attraction blooming amid thorns of fear. Misunderstandings piled like snowdrifts. Mia noticed my distraction, pulling me aside at the center for a heart-to-heart over herbal tea. Jay, you're glowing then ghosting. What's got you twisted? I confessed bits. The mysterious stranger, the pull of danger, omitting the transmigration madness. She hugged me fierce, warning, love's a revolution, me amor, but don't let it eclipse your fire. Tyler chimed in later, sharing his own tale of an ex who weaponized his transition against him, reminding me stakes were real, not just pixels. Meanwhile, Ethan's gifts turned protective. A burner phone preloaded with alerts on Blackwood moves, a scarf knitted by some anonymous aunt who'd once sewn his coming-out flag in secret. The rally came on a windswept Saturday, Union Square thrumming with banners and chants. No hate, no fear, queer lives here. Lucas linked arms with me in the march, his energy infectious, but my eyes scanned for Ethan, paranoia mirroring his. Sure enough, he lurked at the edges, cap pulled low, coordinating security through earpiece. Not as threat, but shield. When counter-protesters surged, hurling slurs and signs like Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, a scuffle broke, fists flying. I shielded a young NB teen from a shove, adrenaline surging, only to feel arms haul me back. Ethan, face set in grim resolve, barking orders to his discreet team. Get him out, he growled to a suited ally, bundling me into a waiting van amid chaos. In the dim interior, as sirens wailed distant, he checked me over, hands trembling slightly on my shoulders. Idiot, you could have been hurt. Anger masked relief, but when our eyes met, the dam cracked. I can't lose you, Jamie. Not to them, not to this world. The van hummed toward safety, but my mind reeled. This deviation from canon, where Jamie dies early and Lucas exposes Ethan solo. Here, bonds wove tighter, friendship with Lucas as ally, not rival, tension with Ethan teetering towards something profound. Yet whispers of prejudice echoed, texts from Jamie's parents, veiled concern about his lifestyle choices amid news of the rally clashes. Society's gaze pressed, a weight threatening to buckle us all. As February thawed edges, Ethan invited me to his penthouse, not the lair of novel infamy, but a sanctuary atop Midtown, walls lined with abstract art screaming suppressed screams. Truce, he offered, uncorking wine with steady hands that belied inner storms. We talked for hours, his Yale days faking straight frat boy charm, my memories of Queen's Pride parades where rainbows clashed with parental frowns. Laughter flowed freer, barriers crumbling, until a call shattered it. His father, voice booming through speaker like Judgment Day. Ethan, the board sniffing around that warehouse incident. Clean it up, or I'll handle the loose ends myself. Click. Ethan's face paled, mask slipping to reveal the boy trapped in man's clothes. I squeezed his hand, unscripted. You're not alone. We'll expose the rot, together, on our terms. Hope flickered in his eyes, a spark against encroaching dark. But as I left, a tale followed, Blackwood security, or worse. Paranoia bloomed, friendships straining under secret's weight. Lucas texted invites to game nights. Mia planned bar crawls for decompression. Tyler pushed podcast collabs. I balanced on a knife's edge, loving the mess I'd made, fearing the fall. Spring teased Manhattan with reluctant blooms, cherry blossoms clinging to branches like defiant hopes amid concrete sprawl. My double life teetered, days blending Alex's cynicism with Jamie's earnestness, nights haunted by dreams where novel panels bled into reality. Ethan's silhouette merging with my old laptop screen. He'd pulled back after the penthouse, text sparse, but presence omnipresent. Coffee runs where he'd linger unseen at the end of the block, or packages arriving with notes. For the fighter. Stay sharp. I missed the raw edge of our talks, the way his laugh rumbled like thunder promising rain. The twist hit during a routine shift at Brew Haven, steam hissing from the espresso machine like accusatory whispers. Lucas burst in, breathless, clutching a USB drive like contraband. Jamie, you won't believe this. I hacked into some public records on Blackwood. It's bigger than we thought. Funding for those camps isn't just donations. It's shell companies laundering through real estate flips. His eyes sparkled with righteous fire, the protagonist's zeal undimmed. In the book, this discovery catapults him into hero mode, allying with whistleblowers to topple Ethan. But hearing it now, my stomach knotted. Ethan's secrets weren't malice. They were chains forged by blood ties. Lucas, slow down. This could get dangerous. People get hurt playing detective. He waved it off, sliding into a booth with that irrepressible grin. That's why we team up. You're in, right? After the rally, I saw how you stood your ground. Guilt twisted sharper. Lucas was genuine, a beacon of allyship in a world quick to dim queer lights. Over shared scones, he opened up, closeted in his conservative upstate family, using journalism as armor against their pray the gay away undertones. We bonded over shared imposter syndromes, his hand on my arm platonic but warm. Yet as he left, buzzing with plans for a deep dive article, I spotted Ethan across the street, jaw clenched in the Audi's shadow. Jealousy? Betrayal? The line blurred. That evening, I confronted him in a quiet Riverside Park bench, Hudson winds whipping secrets from our lips. You followed me. Again. Trust issue much. He met my glare, unapologetic. When Blondie's handing you bombshells that could bury me. Damn right. The argument escalated, words like barbs, me accusing control-freak tendencies rooted in fear, him lashing out at my naive flirtation with danger. Midway, he grabbed my wrist, pulling me close, foreheads nearly touching. It's not control, Jamie. It's terror. Losing you to their machine. I'd burn it all first. The air crackled, confession hovering, but prejudice's ghost intruded, a jogger's stare lingering too long, muttering under breath about those types. We pulled apart, the moment fracturing like thin ice. Reconciliation came circuitously, through Mia's bar, a dive in the East Village pulsing with neon and bass, safe harbor for the marginalized. She slung shots with flair, her girlfriend Rosa DJing sets that fused salsa with synthwave. Tyler performed spoken word, voice steady as he evoked borders crossed and hearts reclaimed. Ethan arrived uninvited, slipping in like smoke, nursing a whiskey at the bar's end. Our eyes met across the throng, truce unspoken. Later, on the rooftop under starless skies, he admitted, I was the villain in my own story long before yours. Father paraded me as the golden child, but after Mom, he twisted grief into gospel. Men don't cry, don't love like that. Tears glistened, unashamed, and I shared Jamie's ache. The parents who'd shipped care packages of straight books, hoping proximity would cure. From there, alliance formed tentative. Ethan leaked sanitized docs to Lucas anonymously, steering the investigation from Ethan's throat to the real Vipers, board members with offshore accounts. Lucas, thrilled, credited a source close to the fire, crediting me in late-night brainstorms over pizza in his cramped dorm. Friendships deepened. Mia adopted Ethan into our fold, teasing his corporate vampire vibe. Tyler grilled him on privilege and activism, forging respect from clashes. Yet tensions simmered. Ethan's father summoned him to a gala, a glittering trap of donors and deals. Come as my plus one, he urged, voice laced with dare. Show them we're unbreakable. The event was a gilded cage in the plaza's ballroom, chandeliers dripping light like honeyed lies. I donned a borrowed suit, feeling exposed amid tuxedos and gowns, Ethan's hand steady on my elbow as we navigated whispers. Blackwood's boy and his friend, a silver-haired exec sneered, cigar smoke curling like disdain. Ethan stiffened, but I squeezed back, whispering, let them talk. We're the plot they can't predict. Dances blurred into defiance, his arm around my waist during a slow waltz, eyes locking in silent vow. But climax brewed. His father cornered us by the bar, face a mask of paternal concern. Ethan, a word. And bring your escort. In a private suite, accusations flew, fraternizing with radicals. After the leaks, Ethan's defiance cracked open. I'm done funding your hate, Dad. The camps, the bills, it's over. The elder Blackwood's laugh chilled. Boy, you think you can walk? I've got dirt on you on him. Photos flashed on his phone, grainy shots of us at the rally, twisted to imply scandal. Threats veiled as advice. Disavow or lose inheritance, reputation, everything. Ethan paled, but rage ignited. Then take it. I'd rather be broke and free than chained to your poison. We stormed out, hearts pounding, into the night where paparazzi flashes awaited like vultures. Headlines brewed by morning. Heiress scion in queer scandal, Blackwood legacy tarnished. Fallout cascaded. Ethan's assets frozen, private investigators tailing us. Mia spotting one outside the bar, Tyler dodging questions at his uni. Lucas's article dropped, anonymized but explosive, igniting protests from LA to DC. I pulled Ethan to my Bushwick haven, where we hunkered amid takeout and true crime docs, laughter brittle but real. We're rewriting the ending. I murmured one night, his head on my shoulder, the weight of worlds lighter in shared breath. But doubt crept. Was this love or survival's illusion? Prejudices pressed. Jamie's parents called, voice laced with "we told you so" after news clips, urging a fresh start, far from the city. Ethan's isolation deepened, old flames texting pity hooks he ignored. A turning point arrived in May's humid haze, at a community vigil for victims of a recent hate crime in Harlem. A trans woman gunned down in broad daylight, her story echoing Tyler's fears. Candles flickered in Washington Square, voices rising in song, and Ethan spoke unscripted, microphone trembling. We light for her, for all stolen lights. But darkness fears our fire. Applause thundered, but afterward, in the crowd's crush, a figure approached. Lucas, eyes shadowed. Jamie, I know about Ethan, the source. And us, it's always been you, hasn't it? Confession hung, gentle, but misplaced. In canon, his heart belonged to Ethan post-redemption. I deflected kindly. Lucas, your family. But my heart's elsewhere. Hurt flashed, but understanding followed, forging deeper friendship from the ashes. Ethan overheard, jealousy flaring anew during our walk home along the East River, bridges arching like promises. Him? Still, I stopped, turning him to face the water's shimmer. No, you. But it's scary. This world chews up happy endings for us. He cupped my face, thumb tracing jawline, breath hitching. Then let's make ours bulletproof. The kiss was inevitable, soft at first, then deepening with pent-up storms, city lights blurring to stars. No fade to black, just emotions tied, joy laced with terror of tomorrow's backlash. Yet high came crashing. Ethan's father escalated, leaking doctored evidence to tabloids, claims of Ethan's predatory ties to agitators, painting me as gold digger manipulating the vulnerable heir. Protests turned on us. Picket lines at Brew Haven demanding my firing, slurs scrawled on Mia's bar windows. Tyler faced uni backlash, his scholarship threatened by association. Friendships strained under siege, Lucas distanced to protect his byline. Mia raged, but worried aloud. This fire's consuming you both. Ethan spiraled, nights pacing my apartment, whiskey his crutch. I should have let you die that night. Saved us the pain. His words gutted, echoing novel's despair. I confronted the mirror, Alex's resolve hardening. No, this wasn't tragedy's echo. It was our rebellion. Rallying the crew, we plotted counterstrike. Ethan testifying anonymously to a Senate hearing on hate funding, backed by Lucas's evidence. Preparations consumed June. Safe houses in Mia's cousin's Queen's brownstone. Strategy sessions over empanadas and energy drinks. Bonds mended. Tyler's tech-savvy scrambling tales. Lucas feeding insider tips. But climax loomed. Interception night, as Ethan slipped to DC, an ambush waited. Hired thugs in a Jersey motel, father's orders clear. I raced cross-state, heart in throat, arriving to chaos. Ethan cornered in the lot, fists bloodied, a goon wielding pipe. Adrenaline surged. I tackled, screams echoing, until sirens wailed courtesy of Tyler's SOS ping. Hospital lights buzzed sterile, Ethan's bruises blooming like dark flowers, my own ribs cracked. In the quiet room, monitors beeping soft, he whispered, "You came back." For me, tears fell, mine and his, as I nodded. Always, we're the villains who win. Recovery wove summer's heat into healing, physical scars fading, emotional ones deepening resolve. Senate hearing aired live, Ethan's masked voice exposing ledgers, names, the rot at Empire's core. Shockwaves rippled, arrests, divestments, Blackwood stock plummeting. His father disgraced, fleeing to Europe amid lawsuits. Freedom tasted bittersweet. Ethan jobless but unburdened, starting a consultancy for queer nonprofits. We moved to a shared loft in Greenpoint, walls echoing with inside jokes. mornings tangled in sheets of simple domesticity. But prejudices lingered, insidious. Jamie's parents visited, suitcases packed with concerned literature, dinner fracturing into tears when Ethan joined, hand in mine. "Son, this life. It's not safe," Dad murmured, eyes averted. Mom's silence heavier. I stood firm. Our love is the safest rebellion. They left unresolved, but seeds planted. A follow-up call weeks later, tentative olive branch. Society shifted slow, headlines praising Ethan's bravery, but trolls spewing vitriol online. Lucas's follow-up piece won awards, crediting friends who fought beside. Fall brought harvest of growth. Mia's Bar hosted our Victory open mic, stories of survival shared under rainbow lights. Tyler landed a fellowship, dedicating it to the family that chose me. One crisp October eve, as leaves carpeted Central Park paths, Ethan knelt amid golden drifts, rings simple silver etched with rewrite. "Jamie, Alex, whoever you are in dreams, marry me? Let's author forever." Laughter choked with yes, kisses sealing vows against any storm. Yet in quiet moments, I pondered the Transmigration's why, a cosmic nudge to mend fractured tales. The novel's end rewritten, not in tragedy but triumph, love's depth conquering scripts of hate. And as winter whispered return, we faced it arm in arm, unbreakable. True enough, shadows lengthened. Anonymous emails trickled, threats veiled as concerned citizen notes, dredging Jamie's past hookups twisted into promiscuous liability. Mia fielded calls at the bar, voices slurring accusations of corrupting influence. Even Lucas, now a rising star at a progressive outlet, caught flack, op-eds questioning his biased sources. Our circle tightened, game nights turning strategy sessions, laughter edged with vigilance. Ethan threw himself into work, consulting gigs, funding community grants, but nightmares woke him. Visions of warehouses, knives, paternal leers. I'd hold him then, murmuring, "We're past that chapter," but doubt gnawed. Was peace illusion or intermission? The real fracture came via betrayal's sting. Tyler, ever the digital wizard, uncovered a mole. One of Ethan's old Yale frat brothers, now a junior exec, feeding intel to the remnant Blackwood loyalists. Paranoia peaked during a holiday market stroll in Union Square, mulled wine steaming in our cups, when a figure bumped Ethan, spilling not just cider, but a whispered, "TikTok, traitor." We bolted, hearts hammering through festive crowds, ducking into a jazz club where sax wails masked our panic. There, over bourbon neat, Ethan confessed deeper scars. They broke me once, in prep school, therapy sessions that were torture. I swore I'd never bend again. But with you, I fear bending too far, into vulnerability's trap. I cupped his face, thumbs tracing stubble-shadowed jaw. Bending builds strength. And I'm right here, catching every crack. The kiss that followed was anchor, fierce against encroaching tides. But resolve hardened, we went on offense. Lucas looped in, his network unearthing the mole's digital trail, emails, payoffs. A sting-op unfolded in Mia's backroom, staged as a reunion poker night. Tension crackled as the traitor arrived, smirks fading to sweat when Tyler's hack projected incriminating chats on the wall. "Game over," Ethan said, voice steel. "No violence, just cops at the door, courtesy of prepped warrants." Catharsis washed, but exhaustion lingered, bonds tested yet tempered. December dawned with tentative joys. Jamie's parents extended an olive branch, a Christmas invite to Jackson Heights, tree twinkling with ornaments from my childhood. Nerves jangled as we drove, Ethan's hand laced in mine over the console. The apartment smelled of tamales and pine, Mom's embrace hesitant but warming, Dad's handshake firm with unspoken questions. Dinner danced awkward tango, small talk on weather veering to Ethan's line of work, met with nods of cautious approval. Post-meal, in the cramped living room, Dad pulled me aside. "Iho, we were scared of losing you to this world, but seeing you happy with him, maybe we adjust." Tears pricked, reconciliation's path winding, but started. Ethan, sensing the shift, shared a tale of his mother's secret pride, pins hidden in heirlooms, bridging divides with quiet grace. New Year's brought crowd surfing into fresh scripts. A bash at Mia's bar erupted in confetti and cheers, Rose's beats dropping bass that vibrated souls. Tyler proposed to his partner on stage, ring glinting under disco ball rainbows, joy infectious, our toasts sloshing with champagne bubbles. Lucas arrived with a date, a soft-spoken poet whose verses rivaled his fire, easing old tensions into easy banter. As midnight struck, Ethan's arms encircled me from behind, lips at my ear. To us, unscripted, unending. Fireworks bloomed over the skyline, mirroring heartbursts. But fate, ever the dramatist, reserved one final act. January thawed secrets long buried. A letter from Ethan's mother, pinned pre-cancer, discovered in Aunt's attic. My boy, love fiercely. The world may rage, but your heart's compass true. To the one who holds it, guard well. Enclosed, a locket with faded photo. Teen Ethan beaming beside a beach bonfire. Reading aloud by loft lamplight. Voices cracking. We wept for what-ifs, then laughed at her postscript. P.S. Skip the family reunions. They're dreadful. Strength renewed. We framed it beside our engagement photo. Talisman against storms. Spring's renewal mirrored ours. Ethan's consultancy boomed. Partnerships with orgs like the Ollie Forney Center, channeling old empire into empowerment. I quit Brewhaven for graphic design freelance, illustrating covers for Queer Lit. Covers that captured resilience's hues. Mia expanded the bar into a cultural hub, hosting workshops on allyship. Tyler's podcast went viral, episodes featuring our survivor circle. Lucas's book deal landed, memoir weaving our collective threads into tapestry of triumph. Yet depth lay in quiet evolutions. Therapy sessions unearthed my transmigration's echo, not curse, but gift, urging empathy's expansion. Ethan's sessions peeled layers, revealing forgiveness's fragility toward his father, now exiled but emailing pleas. We debated responses, block or bridge. Ultimately, a supervised meet in neutral cafe, words measured but mending slight fractures. Prejudices persisted societally, bills proposing parental rights, over trans youth sparking protests we joined, signs high, voices united. Summer solstice found us at a Hamptons rental, Aunt's gift, waves crashing like applause. Bonfires mirrored the letter's photo, stories swapped till dawn. Think the stars scripted this. Ethan mused, head on my lap, sand gritting pleasantly. I smiled, fingers carding hair. Nah, we did. Villain and glitch, rewriting fate. Love's language deepened, not in grand gestures, but daily devotions. Coffee runs with insider jokes. Arguments ending in makeup walks. Dreams shared pre-sleep. Autumn harvested maturity. Wedding plans wove whimsy. Ceremony in Central Park's Bethesda Terrace. Vows etched personal. I choose you. In every draft and delete. Guests spanned worlds. Jamie's family fuller. Ethan's allies turned chosen kin. Mia officiated, booming. By the power of queer joy, I pronounce you boundlessly hitched. Laughter reigned. Rice tossed like confetti rebellion. Winter circled back, but transformed. No knives, only warmth. On our anniversary, revisiting that warehouse, now a community art space, murals of defiant lovers, we toasted to origins. From doom to dawn, Ethan said, ring catching light. I nodded, heart full. In this world once tragic, we'd authored epic. Love's victory over scripts of scorn, prejudices bowed to persistence, misunderstandings mended by mercy. And as snow fell soft, blanketing scars, we walked forward, hand in hand, story ours alone. No, the arc demands nuance. Peace earned demands vigilance. Post-wedding glow faded into February's frost, when a subpoena arrived like unwelcome mail. Ethan's father's countersuit, alleging fraud in the leaks, dragging our names through legal mud. Court dates loomed in federal court, downtown shadow of justice where suits sharpened knives. Ethan paced our loft, ties loosened like nooses. It's revenge, pure. He can't win, but the spectacle. It'll gut us public. I steadied him with tea and truths. We've faced worse. This is just noise. The trial unfolded theater absurd. Prosecutors painting Ethan as mastermind. Defense countering with whistleblower protections. Witnesses paraded. The mole, sniveling for immunity, bored cronies, sweating under cross-exam. Our turn came harrowing. Me on stand, recounting warehouse terror without meta-slips, voice steady despite flashes of paparazzi outside. It wasn't fear of him. It was the system he escaped. Ethan testified last, suit crisp, eyes locked on mine across the room. I funded hate to survive it. No more. Love showed me exit. Jury deliberated days, tension coiling like springs, friends rallying with care packages and pep calls. Mia smuggling empanadas, Tyler live-streaming support petitions. Verdict dropped like guillotine mercy, dismissed, with sanctions on the elder Blackwood for malicious prosecution. Jubilation erupted in hugs and horns blaring from waiting cabs. But victory bittersweet, scars of scrutiny lingered, online trolls doxing addresses, forcing a brief relocation to Mia's upstate cabin. There, amid pines and pond reflections, healing steeped slow. Hikes unearthed conversations deep. Ethan's imposter syndrome post-fall, my lingering dislocation. Sometimes I miss my old skin, but this one's home now, with you. Nights by fire, Esmore's melting barriers, reaffirming commitments in whispers and warmth. Emerging, we channeled momentum. Ethan launched a foundation, Eclipse Legacy, repurposing Blackwood Holdings into affordable housing for LGBTQ youth fleeing abuse. First project, a Bed-Stuy co-op with rainbow murals. I designed the logo, interlocking arcs breaking chains, symbol of fractured fates reforged. Lucas contributed pro bono legal, his book, Unscripted Shadows, climbing bestsellers, dedicating chapters to our saga anonymized as the couple who cracked empires. Tyler's platform amplified voices from the co-op, episodes raw with resident stories, trans elders reclaiming joy, queer immigrants scripting new beginnings. Yet personal whirlwinds swirled. Jamie's parents, thawing fully, hosted a belated reception in their backyard, string lights twinkling over potluck feasts. Dad grilled Ethan on future plans. Mom slipped me her old recipe book, annotated with "For Your Home." Tears flowed freer, forgiveness's river carving canyons of connection. Mia announced her and Rose's adoption journey, baby booties knitted in bar downtime. We pledged godparent duties, circle expanding like family tree roots. Spring's vigor sparked adventure, a road trip down the eastern seaboard, convertible top-down, playlist shuffling anthems from Pet Shop Boys to Chapel Roan. Stops wove whimsy. DC's monuments reframed as rebellion sites. Charleston's hidden queer history tours. Miami's beaches where waves washed worries. One night in Savannah's squares, under moss-draped oaks, Ethan pulled a surprise. Vow renewal, impromptu with a street musician strumming guitar. Again, for the road ahead. Rings exchanged anew, laughter mingling with fireflies. But drama's echo persisted subtly. A journalist, hungry for scandal, doorstepped with rumors of Ethan's relapses, fabricated from old club photos. We countered with transparency, a podcast appearance together, voices intertwined detailing therapy's tools, love's labor. Response flooded positive, letters from fans who'd rewritten their endings inspired by ours. Tyler moderated a live Q&A, fielding questions on resilience. It's not absence of storm, but dancing in rain. Summer solstice circled to annual bonfire, now tradition with growing crew. Tyler's partner, Lucas's poet, new co-op residents sharing tales. Sparks rose like prayers, Ethan and I stealing moments by water's edge. Think we'd have found this without the wreck? He pondered. I traced constellations in his palm. Wreck built the bridge. We're the architects now. Autumn's palette painted progress. Foundation groundbreaking. Shovels in earth symbolizing roots replanted. Mia's bar birthed a sister venue in Harlem, cultural crossroads. Personal milestones dotted. My first gallery show of illustrations. Themes of transmogrified identities earning nods from curators. Ethan's TEDx talk on Villains Redeemed went viral, invites pouring for keynotes. Winter's hush brought introspection. Holiday cards from former foes. Blackwood execs apologizing via foundation donations. A quiet NY at home. Ball drop on TV. Toasts to endings authored, beginnings embraced. As clock struck, Ethan's kiss sealed promise. In this world once doomed, We'd illuminated paths undreamt, love's light conquering every scripted shadow. Yet closure evades tidy bows. Life's narrative threads tangle eternal. March's equinox heralded a curveball. Pregnancy news from Mia and Rosa. IVF miracle announced over brunch mimosas. Auntie Jamie, Uncle Ethan, gear up for chaos. Jubilation masked my twinge. Transmigration's sterility a silent ache, but Ethan squeezed my hand, whispering, "Our family's vast, bio or chosen." We dove into Uncle Prep, assembling cribs and reading Parenting Queer, circle swelling with baby showers blending drag performances and diaper decks. Professional tides turned too. Ethan's foundation partnered with national orgs, scaling to West Coast projects. LA shelters modeled on our co-op. I landed a book deal, graphic novel glitch in the plot, veiled memoir of displacement and desire, illustrations capturing emotional whirlwinds. Launch party pulsed at the bar, toasts clinking amid signed copies. Lucas blurbed it effusively, his own sequel brewing. But undercurrents stirred unrest. Ethan's father resurfaced, not with malice but contrition, a letter via lawyer requesting meet. Time erodes even stone hearts, it read. We debated moons, settling on neutral ground. A Central Park bench, spring buds unfurling. He arrived frielier, suit hanging loose, eyes hollowed by exile's toll. Apologies stumbled. I built walls to protect, but caged us all. Ethan listened, walls cracking. I added gentle probes on the camps funded, forcing accountability. No instant absolution. Therapy mandated, restitution pledged, but a door cracked, prejudice's grip loosening one confession at a time. Tyler's milestone followed. Tenure track offer at NYU. First trans prof in his department. Celebration dinner raucous with roasts. To trailblazing without apology. Speeches flowed, but his toast to us pierced. You showed me family isn't blood, it's battle buddies. Tears brimmed, bonds ironclad. Summer sweltered with expansion. Road trip sequel. Cross-country to San Francisco. Highway hymns to freedom. Stops, honored histories. Castro walks. Stonewall echoes in NYC detours. One dawn in Big Sur. Cliffs kissing Pacific. Ethan proposed expansion. Adopt? Or foster? Build our branch. Heart swelled. We researched. Classes on trauma-informed care. Envisioning home for a kid adrift like we'd been. Fall's harvest yielded Mia's bundle. Little Sophia, cries echoing bar lullabies. Godparent duties commenced. Midnight feedings tag-teamed. Story times with queer fairy tales. Ethan's gentleness floored, rocking her tiny form, singing off-key folk tunes. Never thought fatherhood fit my villain arc, he quipped. I smiled, arcs evolve. November elections loomed, bills threatening trans rights anew. We mobilized, foundation funding voter drives, my novel touring campuses sparking dialogues. Protests peaceful but potent, signs reading rewrite the vote. Victory narrow, but momentum surged, alliances forged with Pauls swayed by testimonies. Winter wrapped gifts unexpected. Our first placement, a 12-year-old non-binary runaway named Riley, eyes wary but sparking curiosity. Integration tentative, nights of nightmares soothed, days of park frisbee building trust. Ethan's patience shone, my illustrations co-creating their journal. Safe here, Riley whispered one eve. Safer than scripts allow, I replied, hugging fierce. New Year's dawned fuller, Riley's laughter mingling with fireworks. Circle gathered, Sophia gurgling in arms, toasts to families fractal, love's limitless. Ethan's arm around us three, gaze soft. From one soul's glitch to this symphony, we composed it. Snow fell gentle, blanketing past pains, future bright with unwritten lines. Yet vigilance whispers eternal, prejudices mutate, not vanish. A school incident, Riley's teacher misgendering, complaints dismissed, ignited advocacy fire. We sued, precedent set, headlines praising power couples push. Lucas covered, Tyler podcast, Mia rallied locals. Winds stack, but weariness tempers joy. Spring's bloom brought permanence. Riley's adoption finalized, backyard barbecue ceiling with water balloons and vows. Parents attended, grandparents now to this mosaic family. Growth looks good on you, Dad beamed. clapping Ethan's back. Summer's heatwave-hosted Foundation Gala, funds raised under stars. I unveiled Glitch sequel, arcs arcing toward hope. Ethan's keynote thundered. Villains aren't born, they're scripted. We erase, rewrite, reclaim. Autumn leaves turned. Mia's second on horizon. Tyler's wedding blending cultures and joy. Lucas's partner proposed mid-book tour. Chaos coordinated via group chat. Winter's solstice circled bonfire. Flames fed with letters burned. Old doubts as ash. Riley, taller now, shared poetry. From shadows scripted, light we scripted brighter. Applause rose, hearts full. In this ever-unfolding tale, love's not endpoint but engine, overcoming, evolving, enduring. We transmigrated not just worlds, but within, emerging authors of destinies defiantly ours.